Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two friends recap romance novels while being silly and reliving good times. If you haven't gotten a chance yet, go check out my Kickstarter for Bonkers Romance. I worked with some truly incredible authors to bring you a new series set in a supernatural Samhain festival called The Shadow Market. There's greeting cards and not safe for work art and so much more, along with these foiled, reversible books that I'm completely obsessed with. To everyone who's already backed it, thank you so much. It means the world, and I cannot wait for you to have these books in your hands. This week, we're finishing up Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase with Tanya. And just to highlight, the interview and Vox piece that Tanya references at the end of the episode are both linked in the show notes, and they are fascinating. But now, we need to jump right back into the middle of a sartorially perfect revenge shooting. Here we go.
She has done a whole look for this revenge, and she marches into his house and shoots him.
One of his friends is like, Mademoiselle, you don't need to do this. And she says, say your prayers, Dane. And he whispers, Jess. And then she shoots him.
She shoots him.
Incredible.
She has had enough, and she shoots his ass.
I'm so excited about it.
It makes me so happy. Everything about it made me so deeply happy. Mm-hmm. And then, because she's also just like a fucking realistic baller, she marches into a police station in Paris and goes, yeah, I shot him. I shot a man today because he ruined me and he deserved it. You should arrest me now.
And they're all like, do you want some tea? Sit down. That couldn't have happened. Like, why don't you go she's hallucinating. Go see what's going on. And the guy comes back and he's like, no, she shot his ass. I saw the blood. Like, there are doctors there and stuff. And it's a perfectly clean through and through, like, shoulder wound because she's a great shot.
She's a great shot. Yes.
Perfect aim on this bitch. And she didn't want to, like, kill him. She just wanted to maim him. Not even severely. She just needed to teach him a fucking lesson. And then her plan is to have a big public trial so that everybody knows exactly what the fuck he did to her. And she's like, no French fucking jury is going to come after my beautiful countenance when it's about a passion crime with love and stuff. And it's so good. She's like, and if you're not going to put me on trial, then I want just a gaggle of reporters here right now.
I want everybody to know. Yeah. Everybody. Every salon is going to be talking about this week. Mm-hmm. Right? The bourgeoisie get on it. Oh. And that is exactly what happens. Because she knows how to execute a plan. Also, we should be able to shoot people a little bit. Listen.
Just the tiniest shot.
I am very pro gun control. Yeah. I don't like guns. I don't care what that means about how whatever leftist woke I am. I fucking hate guns. But there are times where I think, like, if we just shot, like, a little bit. Like, I'm not saying kill people. I'm saying, would the world be better if someone was allowed to strategically shoot Brett Kavanaugh?
I
not kill
think
him.
So.
I'm not making a threat that needs to be investigated.
No, most certainly not. Tanya does not own a gun. Tanya has no idea where to get a gun.
No, Tanya never
doesn't want a gun.
This is a strict hypothetical.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I feel like we should be able to shoot someone with a pellet gun. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's good.
A paintball gun. Like,
a little
I would like to shoot a fucking beanbag at someone who deserves it. That's all.
And you only get one. I think you should have to save your one for when you're ready.
Absolutely.
Everybody gets a beanbag air pistol, and everybody gets one.
Right.
And you get one every 10 years.
Ooh, I like that.
There you go. And that should be the standard. Okay, I'm glad we talked it back from actual felonious attempted murder charges on my person. Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay,
No worries.
appreciate that.
That's what I'm here for. So, so then he gets a letter from her lawyer, and he's like, God fucking damn it, she's so awesome and she's so smart. She did get the meanest, most feminist lawyer that France has to offer, and it's bullshit. He's like, this guy has made his whole career on getting ladies justice after being ruined or after being divorced on, or, you know, all the bullshit. And he's like, if men don't just like fall down to their demands, he buries them in paperwork that lasts for decades.
I want the spin-off series about him. I want an entire book series where he just runs around the world getting justice for ladies getting screwed. That's chef's kiss. That's the Lincoln lawyer I want in this world.
It's so good. So then he's like, fuck that and fuck you. I'm not doing anything through lawyers. I will look at Jessica's fucking face and talk to her about her demands. And so they meet up, and he's like, and she's like, I don't understand why you're calling me vindictive. You're the one who set the whole thing up so that everybody would see my cunt in public. And he's like, I set that up. You set that up. And she's like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, I don't, so many people have offered to marry me, sir. I am unmarried by fucking choice. I don't need to pull these nonsense shenanigans. And so, boy, does he go over to a decanter. Oh my God, because his left arm doesn't work anymore.
Oh, yeah. He has, from the shot, nobody can figure it out. None of the doctors can figure out why his arm is not working correctly.
No, listen, it's not a psychosomatic wound.
No.
Never.
It has nothing to do with his trust issues.
But like, also, we have no idea medically why it's happening. So.
Exactly.
And so he goes over to decanter and he's like, well, I believe we've been working off of the same misapprehension. And so my terms are marriage or nothing, Jess. That's what it is. Marriage or nothing. And she thinks to herself, wait a second. I've heard that insecure laugh before.
Yep.
These fucking men with their fragile pride. I've heard that before. He actually does want to marry me, I think. Huh. Well, I guess we're getting married. And then we switch to his perspective, and he's like, I told myself that her answer didn't matter, but like it might have mattered a tiny bit to me, Lord Dane.
I mean, just a little bit.
It's a teensy tiny bit, like as small as her waist. Okay,
it's her delicate waist. But she absolutely is like, all right, I've weighed the pros and cons. Yeah, and the cons are me not being able to live the life I want to live, and not being able to do what I want, and you suck. For many reasons, but I am going to enjoy the fact that now you're going to have to suck with me as your wife. So,
and you're going to have to tell everybody that the one and only Lord Dane, who doesn't fuck with ladies of a gentry status and like will never get married ever, is now eating his words. Like, love that for you. And he's like, I don't care what all my stupid friends think. They're stupid and I don't even like them. Which is so
also
true.
You should pack because we're going to leave tomorrow. Like in 2 days or whatever.
Yeah. Also, we have to go back to England because if I'm going to get married, it's going to be in St. Gabriel's Church of
Boston, with the
fancy
and
people.
The things and the lawns and stuff.
And something's going to be red.
Things.
The bands.
That's
the one.
Yes, the church stuff and the banners and the announcements and and
the super expensive stuff. You can have the biggest wedding breakfast you want. And she's like, I don't want a fucking wedding breakfast.
I just want to hang out in Paris.
Yeah, I want to stay in Paris. No. And part of the reason is that he doesn't want his lady wife hanging out in like the gross house where everybody's fucked. He's like, my lady wife is not gonna be tarnished by this nonsense, and also I have to burn the bed in the ancestral home because my lady wife is not gonna fuck with that.
Well, you have to burn that bed because that was the same mattress that he fathered a bastard with.
That's the one.
A sex worker named Charity. And so that, so that's the problem with the bed at home. And I do appreciate that he even before blacklight technology understood what was in that house.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. She did not need to have to deal with that. No one does.
No.
So
there's got to be crabs in there, right? Like
literal,
there's a crab
visible. And the pubic lice would just bouncing all over the place.
Just jumping everywhere. I know. Ugh. So they go back to England and he ignores her for 2 weeks, she thinks. But really, he can't be around her because he wants her so badly. And he just wants to like brush her hair and follow her around and like pat her on the butt a little bit. And he's disgusted with himself. Yeah. So he does take her on like a curricle ride. And he's like, you've lost weight. I don't like it. Why? And she's like, I'm fucking stressed out, man. Like, I deal with stress the exact opposite way that Melody does. And I haven't eaten anything in roughly the time I've been home. Because planning this wedding sucks. I relate
to that zero. I relate to that completely not at all. No. I don't really understand what that is to not eat because you're busy. That is Sarah as well. And I'm just like, no, food's right there. I don't get it. And I've had to feed you in times of stress.
Have you?
Yes.
I don't know.
You have to eat something. Oh, there was a moment.
Oh, fair. Yeah. The super dark times. But it's not like planning a wedding.
No, but it's just like, that's my thing. It's like, I don't understand how emotional there's no connection for me between the specter, my human emotion, and my ability to go, oh, it's lunchtime. Those things are not connected.
No.
I don't understand other people.
No.
Which is why I am, in fact, a buxom, whatever she calls all the sex workers. I'm a buxom trollop cow. That's who I am. The one. Yeah.
Okay, we like it like that.
So, of course, they end up making out on this ride because how would you not?
She's like, the one thing I wouldn't let my crazy aunt win on is the negligee that I bought for our wedding. I did channel my revenge, and it is wine red with black little strippy strappies.
Yes.
And he's like, overcome, and he's like, Jess, you gotta stop talking about the translucent fabric you're gonna put on your body. I'm gonna maul you now. And she's into it again. And he's like, I think she might be into it, but like, it's too good to be true. You know? Yeah. He's having a hard time with it. So anyway, he does lay down the law when he gets back to the house. And he's like, Aunt, you're going to stop being a nutter butter. And like, I'm going to help plan the wedding now. So step aside.
And well, he's not going to help. He's going to send a bunch of people. He's going to pay for it. Fair. I do appreciate that these motherfuckers know how to be rich. I cannot stand it when people do not know how to be rich.
Yeah.
The point of being rich is to solve problems with money.
Yes.
That is the goddamn point. So the fact that he's just like, we're going to throw some more money at this shit. It'll be great. And then that saves her for the last several weeks. She can just actually enjoy being a rich person and getting married in a ceremony she has no idea what it's going to be like. It's great.
Oh my God. And what it's like is that he kisses her fucking face off in front of God and everybody right after they say I do. The priest man is like, you can now kiss the bride. And he's like, yeah, I fucking can. And everybody is scandalized. And it's glorious. And he's like clicking his heels back down the aisle after they're married. Like, he's stoked about this.
I am not a prude, but I do not love it when there's tongue at a church wedding.
No, I don't like it. There's a time and a place.
Like, save it for the reception. It's fine, but it's awkward because whoever the religious leader is there. That's so what gets me. They're so close.
They're so close.
They're right up in there. And then you're just, slipping each other the tongue. It's like, come on, you could have gotten married in a garden. You did not need to choose the church. Just say.
Anyway.
There's me being a ridiculous prude about that.
Okay, so now it's honeymoons in Devon. We got to get to Devon, and it's a many-day carriage ride.
Yes, as you do.
Yeah.
And that means you're stopping at inns and whatnot.
Right. And I love her because she's like, so are there any specific requirements you have of the wedding night? Because I am inexperienced and I like to be the best at everything I do.
Yes, I am a competitive soul. I would like to win.
I would like to rock your world, please.
Yes. I'm going to win at the sex, but you need to give me instruction.
Yeah.
So that I can win at the sex.
That's the one.
I love her. I love her so much.
I love her. But he has a very silly reaction because he's like, OMG, I've been fetishizing her virginity since I met her, but I didn't actually think about the logistics of doing away with said virginity. And like, she's such a teeny tiny little wisp of a lady. And I am such a big, strong man who's the size of a house. And I'm going to break her, he thinks.
Yes, he has now decided that his giant penis, which is only rivaled by his giant nose, is going to be so overwhelming that it's going to break her. And I'm like, men are so dumb.
Sir.
So dumb.
Dumb.
It is. They are bacon brained. They're bacon brained.
They're bacon brained clodpoles. That is what they are.
Yes.
Oh my God. Have you seen the watermelons we have to push out of that? Jesus.
Thank you. A baby is a baby is a baby, and they come out of that spot too. So, yes.
Okay, so they get to the inn where they're supposed to stay the night.
But they have been having fun on the trip. Let's not forget that they have been doing dirty jokes and having fun and enjoying each other and laughing. And it's so cute. Okay, back to they get there.
Oh, yeah. So they get to the inn and he runs into a drunk brosif from Eton or something. Yep. And he's like, blah, ha, ha, Dane getting married. Good joke. Who's that fucking whore over there? And he's like... That's seriously my wife, though.
There's one.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that, Ainsley. And he's like, brah. It's a nice looking trollop, though, you know? So, like, where'd you get her? Because I hope there's more like her. And he's like, okay, but stop it. Because that is my lady wife, he says.
And then he's like, where'd you get this one? Was it the theater? Was it the gardens? Yeah, I don't Haymarket? I don't know where you got this one.
And so he's like, all right, well, that's three. We got to fight now. We're fighting now. Yeah. And so this is also my favorite part because she's perfect. She's the perfect heroine. She's perfect from start to finish. She goes up into their room and she goes out into the balcony and she's very excited to see her new husband brawl over her honor.
She is so into it.
Stoked. Then he takes off his shirt and she's like, fucking jackpot. I get a peek at that torso as well. Like this is best day ever.
This is great.
Best day ever.
And she's like, okay, so he only has one arm.
Yeah.
The other guy's drunk. She's like, this could work. And she's watching from the window as these two start going at it.
Oh my God. And she's like, oh, he's such a smart fighter. Like he's using all of his brain parts and he's ducking and dodging and weaving and then just like throwing the fuck down. And Ainsley keeps on being like, nah, I'm bleeding everywhere, but let's go again. And like, it's so drunk and dumb. And then he wins and it's fine. And then he looks up and he's like, oh my God, my wife has seen me brawling like an impoverished brute, you know?
like one
of those whores. Oh my God.
And
that's not how you do it.
Is having the exact same reaction I had watching Tom Hardy in the movie Warrior.
Yes.
Which is sploosh.
Sploosh everywhere. Thank God her maid is around because it's a mess over there. And so then he's like, all right, I got to drink it out because this is a disaster. And she's like, you know what? Men do get their bloods up and they need to become best friends after they punch the shit out of each other. And like, he'll have a few drinks and then he will come up and he will make my dreams come true.
That is not what happens.
He super doesn't.
No, he gets hammered with his friends and relives the fight for hours and then stumbles up and then she has to put his dumb ass to bed.
Oh.
And she's like, oh, so he didn't want to fuck me on our goddamn wedding night.
Yeah. And she's very like, I love her because she's like, I'm sure there's like a stupid male brain reason that this is happening and it has nothing to do with me. However, in this moment, it does feel very personal and it feels like he thinks I'm gross. So that sucks on my wedding night. Not great. Yep. Oh, hey, HBs. I don't know if you've heard, but we have a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get over 150 bonus episodes, most of which include Aaron, videos of regular episodes, author hangouts, and so much more. Do you want to hear Aaron and I recap every single episode of Crash Landing on You? What about a little film called Psycho Stripper? Do you want more recaps of ridiculous Thanksgiving and other holiday books and movies? And how do you feel about Naima Simone and I recapping amazing reality TV? All of that and more is on the Patreon. There's so much content at your fingertips as soon as you sign up. Seriously, hours and hours. Anyway, it's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast if you want to check it out. And of course, that link is in the show notes. Keep being a badass. But then he drunkenly does a big snuggle on her and she feels a little bit better and she goes to sleep. She's like, okay, I guess.
So the next day he's amazed that she is like, that fight was awesome. You compensated this way. You understood what was going on.
She calls him a scientific fighter. And he's like, oh God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And then she's like, how about you show me how it's done? And like, she gets up on a boulder or whatever. And he's like, this is fucking adorable. Everything about this is so cute. And then he picks her up and they do a big giant smooch and she kisses him back like the Dickens. And he's very excited about it. But then he a crow caws. This is how damaged he is, listener. Yeah. A crow caws. And he remembers that Ainsley called him Big Beak yesterday. And then all of a sudden, he's just like mad and sullen. And he's like, let's go back to the carriage. We have to go. And she's like, all right, man. Like, okay. I don't know what just happened, but like the kiss before, whatever that was.
What emotional landmine did you trip over this time?
Yeah, for real. Uh-huh. So then they get to the house and like she gets to look around and then they go to the formal dining room and they sit like 30 feet away from each other, as is customary or something. And then she goes to the library while he does a cognac maybe or a brandy.
Yep.
Which is weird when you're alone. Like it's one thing if there's like a party of people and they're like, now the genders have to go off in their separate corners.
Oh, the fact that they're split up by gender. I thought cognac was weird when you were alone. And I'm like,
oh no, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
Anyway, so then he goes and like sees her in the library and she has found the family Bible. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh my God, it's your birthday and you didn't tell me.
It's his birthday.
I know.
What a rookie mistake to put your birthday that close to your wedding anniversary, though.
Seriously.
Woof.
What if something goes sideways?
Don't do that.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I was more thinking.
Pick a random date for your wedding.
Yeah, you don't want it anywhere near anybody's birthday. You don't want to fuck with somebody's birthday.
No.
Rookie mistake. Yes, exactly. So he screwed up. But she does insist that he write her into the family Bible.
Yeah. She wants to be officially
taken of a wife.
Oh my God, I love it. Also, he notices that his dad did personally record the date on which his mom did die a fevered in the West Indies after fucking off. And he's like not sure how to feel about it, but whatever. He doesn't know how to feel about anything that happened in his childhood, so it's not new.
Yeah, this was a distinct lack of Victorian era therapy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he didn't even get vibrated either. It's a travesty. He could have at least gotten a tiny bit vibrated.
No, he got a decent education and a mismanaged estate, and he's made the best he can of it.
That's right.
Emotionally stunted fiasco.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then is this when he does the finger on her?
I think
Question mark? She reads him. She reads him.
Because she's reading him Don Juan.
Yes.
Yes. And if any listeners not know the history of Lord Byron, go investigate that fuckery.
Look up that nonsense.
I mean, honestly. And she is doing what I think is super hot, which is out loud reading turns people on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you've done audiobooks now, so I'm sure that you know exactly how to slip into this mode. It
is hard to do in front of another person, though. I will say that.
You're looking at me right now.
No fucking way.
No fucking way. Read a little bit of Don Juan. Read a little bit of Don Juan in the sexy voice.
The recording, recording studio is a sacred personal place where a narrator goes.
Do the voice. Okay, how about this? Don't do the voice, but do the voice like with something ridiculous, like with your grocery list. Do the voice with your grocery list.
Okay, I'm gonna read the Post-its that are on my computer right now.
Love it.
Okay. Make Kickstarter webinar. Find photography lightbox. There you go.
I love that you also, like, you can't see this. Get the Patreon so you can see this. Because she is one shoulder dipped. Her head is slightly cocked.
I was already like that.
Her fingers are delicately on her chin.
They are. I know. They're so delicate, aren't they?
Like a little bird.
Ooh. Okay.
So she seduces him with Don Juan. And then
he makes her come like a freight train.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm going to make you out of my hand. He's like, I'd like to see you try.
Yeah.
And then there is,
there's this constant
fingering.
Power struggle where he's like, I'm going to make you beg. And she's like, not before I make you beg. And then he gets really mad because he's like, do not manage me. You will be my lady wife who obeys. And does, who the man of the house is, basically. And she's like, sure, man, orgasm, please, maybe.
And then what I do appreciate is that she's like, when she takes off her top, and I don't know what she's wearing at the moment, but it's a lot, but boobs are out now. And she literally goes, I know that I'm not as big as what you're used to, but maybe if I get real close, you won't notice.
Yeah.
So basically she's like, force perspective. What we're going to do is stick my nipple into your face.
Right there.
And then it'll look like I have giant tits.
Yes.
And he's like, all right, let's do that. He's into it. And then he's like, well, as long as they're in my face.
Oh, yeah.
Smooch, smooch. So, yeah. So then it's a couple of orgasms.
Yeah.
Yeah. He finger blasts her into space a couple of times.
It's great.
And then
she falls asleep.
She passes
dead
out
to the
immediately.
fucking world. And like, you put me in a carriage for 2 days straight and then give me 2 cosmic orgasms. I'm sorry. There's only so much a person can take. I need a little napsies. A disco nap.
A little disco nap. There's no Gatorade at this house. God. She needs a little disco nap. Right? She's got to replace her electrolytes in the other way. Yeah.
In the sleepsies way. And so he's like, I don't know how to get this bitch one-armed into bed. Like, this fucking blows. But also, I'm going to do it because, like, she's my lady wife and I care about her or something.
Yeah.
And as they're going up the stairs, she's like, I'm awake. I can walk. And he's like, we're almost there. And you are light as a feather. It doesn't matter. And then he puts her in bed and he goes back to his bed because he is a sleep apart Duke.
Okay. Gross. It's gross.
It is, right? Gross.
Like, do the sleep apart if you have a snoring problem or a schedule problem. The sleep apart is a perfectly valid way to deal with sleep issues. They do not know if they have sleep issues.
They have no idea.
He's just being an asshole sleep apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like, I'm sorry, but if you're married to me, I'm gonna need to fart on you once in a while. Like, it just has to happen. That's love. Okay. So like, get your big spoon over here and let me fart on your dick a little bit. Jeez.
Okay. I'm not writing a really inappropriate joke in my head. It is so inappropriate, I'm not even going to say it. It's terrible. It's disgusting. But it involves pink eye. I can't. But I will say that I understand that you're a cuddler by nature.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like,
I'm a cuddler until I want you gone.
Yes.
Like that's,
I'm a cuddler until I'm hot.
Yes.
And then the moment I'm hot, I'm like, get the fuck away from me.
You need to be as far away from me as the bed will allow.
Yes.
But I cuddle everyone. Yeah.
So I understand that. He's not yet cuddling, and it's rude.
I know. Yeah. Okay, so now a bunch of shit happens, and it happens in like a week. So can we just rapid fire through it?
Okay. She finds the painting of his mother that hasn't been put in the portrait gallery. She's like, I love it. He's like, she was a whore. And she's like, how fucking dare you? Your mom was in a possible situation. She left you where you would be cared for. Stop being an asshole about your mom. And she's like, and he's like, of course you wouldn't take this and make it romantic. And she's like, you haven't thought about it from her perspective. Be fucking better. Okay.
Yeah,
next,
absolutely. Because she's like, she could have taken you to a place where she didn't know if she had safety or money or anything like that. And you could have died of a fever with her. But no, she left you in the stability of your family home. And yes, it fucking blew. But she really didn't have any other options. So anyway, so that happens. And then he still won't fuck her because he thinks he's going to break her apart into pieces. Yep. So he's like, I'm big mad at you, and you're going to stop managing me, and you're going to stop trying to Jedi mind trick me into doing shit you want me to do, because man gonna sling my dick around until you like it. And she's like, if you're not slinging your dick into me, then like, what the fuck is the point? So he's like, I'm going to go. I'm leaving. I'm going to a wrestling match in a place that's far away with a bunch of broskies. And she promptly puts on her red negligee that she knows is going to blow his mind. And she goes in there and she grabs all the stuff that's in his suitcase and she just starts throwing it on the floor. She's just like, no, you are not abandoning me. You're not going to just like pull the ripcord on this fucking marriage. We're going to figure out how to be married before we part ways. Like, we're going to try. I need you to try. And she's like, you can go. Let's absolutely. Let's go together. I will go with you. I love a wrestling.
I've always wanted to go. My brothers would never take me. I'm dying to go to wrestling.
Yeah. And then he's like, you're so hot. Oh no. Look at that negligee that you did specially make for me. It feels a little bit dangerous because you were wearing this color and you literally shot me. He's overcome. He does take her to the bed and then they do some sex. Listener,
it's on.
That is good. It's on TM.
Oh, it is very good.
Yeah.
It is the hot. It is the please. It is the sweet Jesus. It is the mon Dieu. It is the all of the things. Banging it out. And he's like, turns out I do fit. Things are fine.
Yeah.
It does have the virgin sex that only, hurts for a second. But we'll forgive that. It's still hot.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And it is huge orgasm.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's happy.
It's so cute because afterwards she starts crying. She's overcome. She's like, this is amazing. That was the best thing ever. And like, I feel so close to you and you're so pretty. And is this the time? I think this is the time when she admits that like she's wanted him from jump, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So it's also very important because he's been like, yeah, she's into it, but she's only into it because of like nerve endings and stuff. And she's like, you silly man, like you're beautiful. And I have wanted to climb you since we met in that Champtois thrift store. And I thought about you doing lover services on me immediately.
and he's like, well, then she says, she's like, you cannot make me do this again. And for a split second, he thinks that she means no more sex. It was too much, terrible. And I don't have it. And he is horrified.
Yeah,
and
he's so worried,
just devastated. And she says, no. What I mean is, I'm not going to work that hard for it. The next time you're seducing me, I've spent weeks making this happen, and it was fucking awesome. And we are not doing this whole rigmarole every time I want to get laid.
That's right. Yeah. She's like, you're going to seduce me. You're going to show me that I'm desirable.
And she says it was worse than when she had to drag Birdie to the dentist. It was worse than that. That is how it goes.
Oh, I love it.
I love her so much. So he's like, I'll take you to the wrestling match.
Yeah, let's go wrestling matches together. And now they're in the honeymoon period where, like, once they get there, he's like, oh no, I have to take you to an abandoned vicarage to fuck you before we go into wrestle times.
Well, no, they go into wrestle times first, though.
Oh, do they?
I think, don't they? I don't remember. It's not a good fight, and he's pissed because he wanted her first fight to be a good fight. It's a bad fight.
Yeah, he's frustrated.
So then he, like, drags her out to go bang it out.
Yeah, and she's into it. And then afterwards, there's, like, this little urchin who is just running around, and he's tripping people, and he's throwing spitballs, and it's not great. And then there's
he's a little ragamuffin.
Yeah. And then there's a lady called Charity Graves, who is a buxom sex worker that did keep his child, thinking that she could, get a living out of him for the rest of her life. And so this happens in front of Jess. And he's like, we need to get everybody away from Jess as soon as possible. And I think maybe Vautry's there. I think it might be Vautry.
Yeah, Vautry's definitely there. I think, did we skip? We skipped when she gave him the painting.
Which painting? What are you talking about?
She gives him the Madonna, the painting that she found in Paris.
Oh yeah, that was day one. Sorry, everyone. For his birthday.
For his birthday. Yes. We just went a little bit.
So she gives him this icon that's like gold and gem encrusted, and they talk about.
Turns out it's beautiful and it's amazing.
Gorgeous.
They talk about the art.
Yeah.
And he gets the art, and she calls him emotional. Throughout all of this, she has figured out that he's like super hyper emotional. And so she's like, you're just high strung. You're like a thoroughbred. You're an Italian nobility. It's fine.
It's fine. And he's like,
but he now has the
he now has emotional, high strung. I don't know what she's talking about. But then slowly he's like, oh shit, that might actually be really true. Never did I think about it that way.
So she's broken through. So now they're dealing with this kid that is running around being a complete jerk, and then he grabs him.
And he's like, oh my God, it's the monstrous it that I made with Charity, and it looks just like me, and it's got my nose, and it like he just sees his like hated childhood self, and he's projecting all of that trauma onto this poor child who is the exact same age he was when his mom left. And he can't understand, like he can't divorce in his mind the injustice of being unwanted. Like, you know what I mean? Like he can't put those things together. He's just like, this kind of child cannot be wanted. And I hate it. And I won't.
It's a reminder of everything that he was mistreated for, everything, and he is not having it. Charity has shown up. She's trying to make a scene. It's very Real Housewives. She wants to go talk to Jessica, who's in the carriage. She's getting pulled back. The kid is like realizing that's my dad. He's getting told that's your dad. And he is just a complete mess. And he gets in the carriage.
Because the kid runs away. The kid like kicks him in the shins and runs away or something. Yes. And then he gets in the carriage and she's like, oh my God, we have to go after that kid. Like, that's your kid. That poor child, that kid was wearing rags What's happening right now?
He is once again just stunned and horrified, but also like amazed. Like the fact that she has immediately figured out what's happened, clocked all of it, and her concern is go get the kid. And he is just like, oh my God, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're not going to go get that kid.
That kid, I pay for that kid to disappear from my life. I pay monies for that to happen. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, did you see his mom? His mom was wearing nice clothes. His mom was, you know, just a normal person. And he was this dirty, dressed in rags, poor child who's obviously crying out for help and wants and needs like attention and affection and love. And you're not going to try to fix that? And he's like, no, I never want to see that little gremlin again.
Yeah. And it is very sad because you know that he's just doing it because, you know, he's emotionally damaged severely. So, and she knows that he's only doing it because he's emotionally damaged. So, of course, it will not sit here. No. Meanwhile, we are finding out that this is all because Beaumont and Vautry have sort of gone into this pact. Vautry's like lost all of his money because he's been gambling it. He blames Dane. Beaumont is feeding him a line of bullshit because Beaumont hates Dane now.
Yes.
It's a whole thing.
Beaumont is the peephole pervert.
He's the peephole pervert who's still pissed. So Vautry now thinks that he's in love with Charity, like Charity and him are a thing. And they're going to figure out how to get this painting that they have been told is worth $1 gillion.
Yes.
And they want this painting, and the bastard child is part of it. So that's where we find out that there is a whole thing, all of this.
Yeah,
so
because Beaumont has like fed him some bullshit, and Vautry's falling for it again. Yeah, and like Beaumont was the one who was really perpetuating the Dane is besotted by this spinster rumor, which to be fair was true, but like Beaumont has been doing a lot in the background that we've seen, but like, you know, doesn't have a huge impact on the actual couple plot. So. Okay, so now they go home and she's like, I'm going to fix this. This is nonsense. I can't do this. And he's like, no, you're going to be my fucking lady wife. I paid to have you be obedient to me no matter what. Yeah. And she's like, transaction.
Fine.
I'll do that for you. And so she just starts treating him like this vapid Stepford wife. She's like, oh, you want to have sex now? Absolutely. Let's have sex. Oh,
and the
did
sex
you say
is still
something?
good, though. The sex is still good. She's not like just laying there.
No.
Still having the sex, but it's like she's not asking for it. She is very coolly polite. Mm-hmm. She is just like, whatever, this is what you wanted. And this goes on.
And he keeps on saying increasingly stupid things to try and goad her into acting like herself. And she's like, oh, wow, darling, you think so? I agree. And so it's great because on the page, he's like, I have technically nothing to be mad about, but I hate it. And she knows it
so much.
Oh,
and he knows, he actually says, I'm losing her.
Yes.
Like he knows that this is it, but he's like, I also will not accept this monstrosity that she calls my son.
Oh, God. And
terrible.
Like, this poor child, because his mom only had him to get the living. And like, while she's doing this Stepford wife routine, she's also clandestinely finding out as much as she possibly can about this kid and like where he lives. Because she's not with his mom.
Plans. She is full Encyclopedia Brown out there.
She's got John Coachman on side. John Coachman is like, yeah, we'll fix this together. I'll fucking help you. Absolutely.
The kid is running fucking wild around this village, by the way. The kid is just apparently he had basically a nanny. Yeah. So Charity was using part of the money she was getting to pay for an actual nanny while she worked. Working moms. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Right.
And so,
but then the nanny died. She died or something.
Yes.
And then Charity's like, nobody else is going to take him. So like, I guess he's an urchin now.
And remember, 8 in this day and age is like
basically 15.
A modern Yeah, a modern 17. Like, that's what it is. Like, that's so she's just letting him run wild. So he is just causing all sorts of fucking act out, spoiled child shit, right?
He's letting pigs out. He's throwing eggs. Yeah.
He's just doing
all
the whole
stuff.
He's the village nightmare.
Yeah. And nobody will tell Dane.
Is that he's a kid. Yes. Yeah. Nobody will tell Dane because they're terrified of Beelzebub up in the giant house with the 5 towers. By the way, did you notice how many towers were on this castle?
So many of them. Oh my God.
That's exhausting to me.
What do you even do with that many? What do you do with one tower?
How do you clean a 5-tower castle?
I know.
Everybody's like, oh, I want a giant house. And then I was like, bitch, you got to clean that giant house. That's
Yeah. So, okay. So now she's like, all right, it's time to put my plan into action because this poor kid needs help. He needs help. And like, I don't care if my husband is into it or not. I can't in good conscience allow this to keep happening. This kid needs stability and love and boundaries and discipline. Like,
yes.
So,
and he's clearly acting out so that his dad finds him.
Yeah, because she follows him, and she finds out that when he runs away from people, he runs into like this gardener's shack or something that's on his dad's property because A, he knows nobody will follow him there, and B, I'm sure there's a piece of him that wants to throw up a smoke signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be like, I'm a person, and I'm 8. God.
I am 8. And you know what 8 looks like. Sometimes you have to remember how small 8 is. 8 is small. And a malnutritioned 8 is even smaller. And this poor kid is clearly a malnutritioned 8.
Yes.
Right? And so, and he is also not pretty. And when you're not pretty, malnutritioned 8, it's going to be rough. And people are going to be awful. And so she traps him in this, basically, in this garden shed.
They catch him.
He's like, bugger you. Blah, 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 curse, insult. And she does exactly what she did to his dad.
Yes.
She starts hugging and kissing him.
Yes.
And kissing his little head and kissing his little grimy neck and kissing his little dirty face. And he's stunned. He's still pissed. He's still yelling.
He doesn't know what to do. And she's like, I don't care about cursing. Curse at me all you want.
Yeah, whatever. She's used to this nonsense. And then his mom shows up.
His fucking mom his quote unquote mom shows up, and she needs to be hurled into the sun. Sorry.
Yes. So
because
basically
she's immediately like, I know that you want my kid. I mean, I don't want my kid, but I do know that he's leverage over you. So I will let you have my kid if you give me that super spendy icon. And she's like,
yep.
I can't give you the icon. I gave it to Dane. And she's like, you'll figure out a way if you want kid. And then she goes and like hides or something. So apparently the plan is that they're going to meet at like an inn the next day, and they're going to do the trade-off icon for kid.
Hey HBs, I started an Etsy store. Did you know? Right now, it's full of all the St. Vincent items you need, because St. Vincent is thoughtful and cozy all year round. We've got a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or really anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy, and they feel so incredibly lush in your hands. I went round and round with the manufacturers to make sure I had just the right thickness. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure that was painted by the amazing Mayara Faraz on one side, and then I created a St. Vincent Would Always wreath on the other side that has a bunch of little Easter egg items in it. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's like, if you know, you know. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter, with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so delicious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around. So if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes.
But then she goes home and she's like, okay, well, now I have to finally talk to you, you fuck. So here's what's happening.
I gave you time and you failed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rule, though. So unfortunately, because patriarchy and society, I need your fucking help. So here's the situation. I'm not going to give her the icon and I can't steal it from you. And it's nonsense that anybody would ever think I would. So like, you have to go get your son. That's the only thing you can do. It has to happen. And he says like, what does she say? She's like, that because like you stealing from you or something would be unforgivable. And he says, Jess, the only unforgivable thing would be you leaving me. And she goes,
if you leave me, I will kill myself.
Yeah, not healthy. Not
Don't
healthy.
Be ridiculous, she said. I should never leave you. Really, Dane. I cannot think of where you get such adult ideas.
Yeah. She's like, what? That's what you got from this? You dummy?
I will say that I do understand that if you leave me, I will kill myself is a terrible mental health kind of position to take. But it does feel appropriate that he said it while they were on the crashing moors of the estate.
Oh, indeed.
Like they were in the very gothic-y, ridiculous, British rocky crevices where people used to like hurl wives off of and stuff. So it does feel scene appropriate.
Oh, yeah. They're in full Jane Eyre areas.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, I'm not going to leave you. You're just going to go get your son and we're going to raise your son together. And that's what's fucking happening. And so he's like, okay, I want to keep my wife. And like, she's acting like herself again, which I really like. And so I guess the thing I have to do in order to keep this going is to like get John Coachman, who is a bit of a betrayer, but I get it.
But I get how my wife will make him a betrayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm going to go now. And she's like, what are you talking about? They're not like, we're not meeting till tomorrow morning. And he goes, I know, Charity Graves. She's already there. Like, So turns out.
By the way, he's still talking about his kid. He could not even think about the loathsome thing he'd made with Charity Grace without becoming physically ill. How in Lucifer's name was he to go to it and look at it and talk to it and touch it and take that thing into his keeping? He's still there, y'all. He's still in the emotionally broken place. But then he goes. Then he goes.
Well, okay, so then we switch into Vautry's perspective because he is with Charity. And originally they were going to like do an arson and steal the icon. But then Charity Charity like switched gears and she was like, they want kid. I don't want kid. This is great. Like 2 birds, 1 stone. We'll get it done. So we find out, though, that Charity's like the worst person in the whole wide world. I'm sorry I'm saying it because the kid's like, I'll throw up in a carriage. I don't want to go to a carriage. I don't want to go live with my dad. I just want you to be my mom. Mm-hmm. And so her answer to that is to laudanum him into oblivion.
Like a Puerto Rican grandmother.
I mean.
Put in a little rum in the bottle.
Except it's not all like that. Because she straight up just like drugged the shit out of him. She gave him an adult-sized dose.
She did. My grandmother would never have done that. My grandmother did an appropriate child-sized.
That is correct. Yeah, and then she has no idea because she doesn't know her son. She has no idea that his poor, delicate constitution can't handle it. And so now he's like vomiting everywhere.
Super sick. So they're in a shitty inn.
And Vautry's pretty sure he's going to die.
They're in a shitty inn. The kid has not stopped puking. And it's Vautry and Charity and the kid in one room in this inn. And then they hear a ruckus.
There's a ruckus. There's some heavy footsteps.
Yes. Yep. And literally, Charity's like, grab the kid, get out. The kid's worth money. You take the kid, jump out of the window into this hay bale. And Vautry is not into that.
No.
So she bails.
Yeah. She goes out the back door and he's just like, OMG, I'm panicking. I'm going to leave the sick child in his own sick on the wood floor and I'm going to jump into the hay pile by myself, which like is ultimately the best choice. But Vautry, that wasn't your line of thinking at all.
Right. At all.
So then Dane comes crashing in because he's about to crack Charity's head open like an egg. And frankly, I don't blame him at this point.
Yeah.
And then he sees this, he calls it like a pile of stinking rags because he's just like in the fetal position. But it's terrible. So he like
it's really bad.
Picks him up, and all of a sudden, this is the moment in which he becomes a dad.
Yeah.
Like, it made me cry.
It was so sweet.
So much. I was painting trim, and Michael kept on being like, oh no, there's a smudge here. And I kept on being like, how am I to paint trim through these tears? Okay, Loretta Chase.
Like, it is so incredibly sweet. He's just like, Mama's gone, I'm Papa.
I'm Papa.
And then he proceeds to like, he gets his boots puked on, and you're not really a parent until you get puked on.
Truly.
And then he's like getting bath water, getting broth, just literally scrubbing his kid down. And then she has, by the way, she wanted to go when that was put the kibosh on. She has packed a bag that includes a toy for him. So clothes and such, but also a toy because he might need it. And so he's literally getting this kid back up to health, and he's thinking about what she has told him about thinking about his mom leaving him with people who could care for him.
Yeah.
And how his son, his mother left him to die.
Right.
Sick in this hotel room. And it's just bonding upon healing, upon figuring it out. And he is feeding his kid. He's holding him and feeding him. And everything is just sweet
and he's talking
amazing.
To him like he's a person. Like he's doing these adorable negotiations that you do with an 8-year-old to like get him in the baths. And he's talking about how you know, I totally get why you're sick right now because, you know, Papa had an experience just like this. We just can't handle laudanum, you and I. And it's so beautiful.
It's starting.
And then at the end, he's like tucking his kid in, and he's like, oh my God, I've been using my left arm for the past 3 hours to take care of my kid. Yeah.
A miracle, I say. It's not a miracle. It is the human brain healing itself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So then he finds out that the coachman, who isn't called John Coachman, it's actually a plot point
Phelps.
that like the family loves him so much that they call him Phelps.
He gets a name.
I couldn't remember his name.
The family loves him so much, he gets his human name.
Yeah.
The bar, she is low.
Yikes.
Okay.
So it turns out that Jess has sent him with like all of her pin money, and she's like, pay off Charity and get her gone. Like she writes her a letter and she's like, here's all the monies. It's, you know, $1,500 is better than nothing. Go to France. They love buxom trollops there. You're going to do great.
You're going to work so much, and you're going to have a retirement fund, and life is going to be good, and you're going to have French pastries.
That's
Go.
the one. Yeah. And so Charity's like, great. Thank goodness. However, this is not enough money to share with my lover, Vautry. So I'm going to just go.
I'm just going to be out.
Vautry.
Bye. Yeah. Which is exactly what he deserves.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, okay. So then he takes him home, and before they get home, there's a fire. OMG.
Yeah. And she's been getting the whole house ready for the new kid, as you do.
Yep.
Right.
She's
been going fine.
She set him up a room, and she's like, no, we're not using the customary nursery that's 3 miles away from my room. No.
What is that?
What
is
that?
Wrong with British people?
I don't know.
My God. I mean, it is just, again, every single time I open a historical novel, it's yet another chapter in the Victorian Parenting Guide to Fuckery. It is so bad.
It's so much. So she gets him a room that's only like 2 floors away. Okay.
Like a normal family.
Honestly.
Yeah. So she's doing all of that. And the servants are all blah, blah, blah. And then she sees that there's a fire through a window. She sees that there's a fire. And everybody runs to that fire. She does not. But everybody else is running to that fire to try to put it out. Luckily, it has been raining.
Yeah.
So that's going to help contain it.
Right.
And turns out, idiot Vautry is enacting the fire plan.
Yep.
that was the original plan. And he has stumbled. And you could just imagine how bad he is at all of this. But he finally gets it lit. Now he has to run to the actual house to try to steal the painting. But he gets in there. He gets lost 17 times. He finally finds the bedroom. He finally finds the painting. He finally starts stumbling out. Then he gets lost again. Because this is primo genius right here.
Oh, yeah.
And who does he run into but Jessica?
And then Jessica sees what's in his hands and she's like, you're not going to get away with my husband's goddamn first birthday present that he's ever gotten in his whole life. And so she throws the fuck down. Jessica beats the absolute tar out of this man in multiple rooms.
I mean, and he is like tossing her and she's just coming back like a whirling dervish.
Oh,
and
my God.
Taking him down like a rodeo calf. And then she is taking his head and she is doing the thing where she is banging his head in rhythm to what she's saying. So she's like, you will not hit, never, absolutely not. And just beating the living crap out of him. And she has lost track of everything except her goal to make him human paste.
Yes.
When she is lifted off of him for her husband is home.
And then she looks over and like the kid and roughly a dozen servants are over there just being like, holy fuck. Oh my God. So then he like takes her to the room and he orders her a bath and stuff. And she's like, oh my God, I just traumatized your child. Like Dominic, I think Damien, I don't remember what his name is. Dominic is like, he must think I'm terrifying. And he's like, actually, you did the best thing you could possibly do. Because on the way over here, I was telling him, like, my lady wife is nothing to be trifled with. And like, she loves everyone she loves, but like, you don't fuck with her. And then the very first impression you give him is you defending the homestead. Like bodily defending the homestead. And he's like, so you made me out to like, I Jessica, am so right all the time. She's a goddess in his eyes.
Right. And the thing is that I am not that person. I am the person that would be like giving him other stuff. I would be like,
totally.
How about you don't hurt anybody, and I also give you a safe full of jewels.
Absolutely.
You didn't steal any of my jewelry. Let me give you that. Like, totally. I am absolutely the opposite of this. I do not want a physical altercation with said home intruder. I do not. That sounds terrible. But Jess, she's a badass.
She, to be fair, like to you, frankly, if you knew it was, I don't know, I'm going to bleep this, like Ichabod Crane, who was burgling you.
Okay, you know what? When you bleep that, replace it with audio of you saying like Ichabod Crane.
Sure.
Because that's what you meant. You meant an Ichabod Crane type.
Like, I think you would maybe think about throwing down.
I could take down
That's what she knew.
That's
she
easy.
was like, Vautry? Vautry of all people is going to rip me off? Fuck that. And then she just loses her goddamn mind.
Now, meanwhile, this is one of those things where when one half of the couple gets to be over the top and out of control, the other half gets more calm.
Yes.
That's the situation. So Dane is now sitting with Vautry and being like, here's the deal. You got sucked in by Charity. You don't know what you're doing. What the hell? This painting isn't even worth anything. He lies to him about that, which is hilarious. Like, he's just like, what the hell is going on? And then he finds out that this is all Beaumont.
It's all Beaumont.
Pulling the strings. And he's like, okay, Vautry, I'm going to pay off your debts.
That's right.
And this is what you're going to do. You're going to go marry Charity Grace.
That's right. You're going to shackle yourself to that bitch forever.
Yep.
Good luck, he says.
And in return, you're going to write a letter to Beaumont. And you are going to tell him everything I'm going to dictate. I'm going to dictate the letter. And I'm going to make him so upset. And you will thank him for sharing the information about the painting. And then that you are profiting. You're the one who sold the painting and you have it and you're good. And that will make him a crazy person.
Well, especially since he throws in there, like, he actually was going to give it to you for thanks for this thing. And because your wife is an artist who would like that thing. But instead, I did him a solid. And now it's my painting. And I'm in the clear. And he's like, oh my God, Beaumont's going to die. And Dana's like, I know, right?
Yeah, let's fuck with him. And I kind of love that this is a reversal of gender roles here, that he's doing the clever, backhanded, shenanigans, and she's the one who just executed brute force upon another person. And I kind of love that that's what we got here.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So
now
we're in the home stretch.
Yeah, so like, now he's just like being adorable and he's like, hey, dad stuff is fucking great. Like, I'm great with that kid. It's nuts. And so then the kid, they hear him like, so they bang a couple of times and it's also great. But then the kid is like running around bottomless, totally naked sauce. And he's like, I'm not putting on that crazy thing that you want me to wear. And so he like gets him in his arms and he's like, okay, we're going to deal with this like civilized men. Okay, you and me. Good men over here. And he puts him in like one of his shirts. And he comes out and he's holding him. And he looks at Jess and he's like, this is Papa's shirt. I get to wear Papa's shirt. And it's
so
like
cute.
the way that he's talking to him is just perfect. And she's so impressed and so happy. And he's like really thankful that she's not being terrible about the fact that he has a kid outside of their relationship. And like, she's just treating him like her own. And it's beautiful.
And it's and in between this, there's also sex.
Yeah, they bang a bunch.
Yeah. They bang a bunch. She, rides him, I think maybe in the dining room. I can't remember. But yeah, and he's just like, kill me again. And she's like, as ordered, let's do it. And she loves the idea of what he did for Vautry. She loves it. She's pro that. She's rooting for them. She's rooting for Charity and Vautry. And she's basically like, listen, we're going to start our family with an 8-year-old boy. So we are ahead of the game. And also, and then she does a subtle slam on babies that I kind of love, where she's like, one can communicate with children that age. They are very nearly human. And I love that because it's true. I love a toddler, but they are frustrating.
They're just puppies.
They really are.
They're puppies.
Really are. They're fun fucking puppies, but puppies nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then
at some point, hold on. At some point, Dominic sees the bed.
Oh, yeah.
So Dominic sees the giant bed. Now, the giant bed is a point of contention for me because it's literally 10 feet square, which is a little out of hand.
It's too much.
Just want to point that out. That is a lot bigger than a bed needs to be. But he's like, oh, did you put a baby inside of her in that bed? Because Mom told me that I was put inside of her belly in a giant bed. And literally he's like, I sure did put a baby. I definitely did. And she's like, pardon? And he goes, girl, you pregnant. Yeah. I've been banging with you this whole time. It's been 5 weeks. You knocked up with my baby. And she's like, I can't even like surprise you with that. You got to monitor my shit now. And he's like, sorry, but you're totally knocked up. So they're knocked up.
It's really sweet.
It's very sweet.
And then he's like, I'm going to prove my virility to you, because at one point she said that like he's just so virile and like it really just hits her right in the id. And so he says, I'm going to prove my virility to you over and over repeatedly. His black eyes glinted. I will teach you a lesson you'll never forget. She tangled her fingers in his hair and brought his mouth to hers. My wicked darling, she whispered. I should like to see you try. And that's the end of the book.
Yes, and they have lots of little beak-nosed babies who grow up into lots of hot people.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. She is such a great heroine. I cannot stand it. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Loretta
I
Chase,
love,
man.
one of the things I really love about this book is that, like, he's a dumb alpha, you know, like he's an alpha who's never encountered his feelings before, which is its own glorious thing. But she manages to do that with such a low level of angst because Jess is just so level-headed and wonderful. You know, Jess is just like, stop it with the me leaving you thing. Stop it. Nah, that's not what's happening right now.
She's practical. And that is, I stand a practical person. I am a practical person. I get it is hard for me when people are like, my feelings. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So many feelings people have.
So many of them.
And that's fine, but we also need to make a plan. And that is Jess. Jess is like, let's figure it out. And I'm in love with a high-strung, emotional guy, and I got to figure him out and take care of his shit. And I love her.
I know.
I love her so much.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, Tanya.
That's a good book.
Do you have a lady love?
I do. Okay.
What's your lady love?
Okay. So my lady love is the Steve Martin movie, Roxanne. Okay.
Ooh.
Let's talk about this for a second because I thought of it with this book because it is a delightful, sweet rom-com from the 90s and it's a modern Cyrano de Bergerac.
Oh, that's right.
And so it is a small town. Daryl Hannah is the female lead and she's, of course, stunning and beautiful and, you know, Roxanne-ish. And Steve Martin is the fire chief for this small town and his bumbling but much hotter, younger fireman is the one that Roxanne starts dating. And he has a giant nose. Like, they do not just do like a little.
That's
little
right.
Nose.
They
is
do a
huge
clownish, like
huge honker.
Pinocchio nose. I remember that
and
now.
It is so sweet. And it's not like hilarious laugh a minute. It is a sweet rom-com. But there's a scene that is a classic scene where he's in the bar and somebody, like some asshole just makes fun of his nose. And he's like, oh, a nose joke. That's really, he's like, I know nose jokes. You know shit. And the guy's like, really? You know, he's like, yeah. He goes, here's a dart. Throw a dart. And whatever number you hit, I will tell that many nose jokes. And the guy, of course, is good at darts and he has to tell 25 nose jokes. And it is one of the best comedy scenes of just Steve Martin at the top of his game in a nose joke off with himself. And it is fan-fucking-tastic. And so if you love this book and you love a big nose, amazing hero, this is your Cyrano de Bergerac version that's more modern. So there's my lady love. Go get Roxanne.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so that has sparked a different lady love for me. I was going to say something else, but now I have to talk about Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, I love it so much.
Oh my God. So it's Steve Martin. It is, why am I blanking on his name? Martin Short.
Short, yeah.
Thank you. And then Selena Gomez.
Who's amazing at it.
I was not
dare she?
expecting her to be good actress.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it. It was a revelation.
So you were not familiar with the Gomez au revoir of like Nickelodeon?
No.
She was Nickelodeon, right? I can't remember, but her childhood stuff. Yeah, but no, she's dry as a fucking bone in this and so good.
So good. And I love it because it manages to it makes fun of true crime podcasting.
Yeah.
And Tina Fey is in it. She's the creator of Serial, basically.
Yes, exactly. She's Sarah Koenig.
That's the one. Oh my God.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good. It's campy and delicious and off the wall and still, I don't know, still just dry as a bone. right?
Yeah.
Like,
and Martin Short and Steve Martin they are now in their late 70s, I want to say.
Yeah.
And they are at the top still of their fucking comedy game.
It's nuts.
They are so funny and so physical and so witty. And it's like watching those two who have been doing comedy together since the 70s just kill it.
I know.
It's awesome. It's so much fun. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and a great supporting cast. Like, it's great. So
Yeah.
I watched the entirety of season 1 on a plane from New Jersey to Oregon, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
That was a good one. That's good.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Remind me to give you some TV recs. There's some good
please.
stuff out.
Okay, so Tanya, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Tanya Mel. TANYAMEL. That's my Twitter. I'm trying to think, what else do I have? Oh, I'm going to be on Morning Edition on Tuesday. NPR's Morning Edition. Yes. They're telling me it's going to air on Tuesday. It's an interview based off of a piece I wrote for Vox a few months ago on the history of abortion on television, because I'm a TV nerd. And so Morning Edition and I talked yesterday, and it was thrilling. It was truly.
I mean, seriously.
Because it's Morning Edition. It's the show I grew up listening to every day. And it's too much. But they telling me that's going to come out Tuesday. So if you want to look at that or my Vox article, it's pinned on my Twitter.
Awesome. Yeah. Her Vox article is stunningly good, listener. So check that out.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So you can find us at all the places at Heaving Bosoms on Twitter, at Heaving_Bosoms. Check out Bonkers Romance, which is my other super fun podcast. And
bonkers it is.
And bonkers it is. Yeah. And now I'm a publisher too. Okay. So check out the Kickstarter because
this
we
is
have
so exciting.
Tanya, I'm like overjoyed. It's been so much fun to work on, and we can chat about it after, but it's just been like, it's like, you know how they say like find things that give you energy pennies or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what doing this project, like specifically with Jenny and Katie, like the three of us together is just like, we're just like this fountain of energy pennies for each other. And it's so fun. Okay. Yeah. So check out the Kickstarter, and then, hi, bud. I'm talking to Aunt Tanya. Come here.
Hi.
I got to get my blur off.
Oh, hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Put your makeup off.
Why did I put makeup on? Say hi to Auntie Tanya.
Hi.
She put, hi.
Yay.
Yes.
She just came
there's
home
that cutie.
from day camp because she's a giant kid who goes to day camp now.
How is she this old?
I don't know.
God, she's so pretty.
I'm dying.
Oh, so cute.
Mwah.
Oh.
All right. So anyway, keep being a badass. Uh-oh.
Did we do it? And love yourself as much as you love wearing revenge clothes.
Yes. Love yourself.
Yeah.
Love yourself as much as you love just putting together the exact outfit for the vengeance occasion.
Yes. That's it.
But what?
Bye.
Bye.
Is this the makeup you put on?
Yes, it's the makeup I put on.
So, how far do we do a makeup lesson?
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want.
We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Ah! Lilas! Okay, back to the show.